We're going to do something unusual this early in the morning. We're going to philosophize together. Before I get started, though, let me ask you all a question. Who here can name for me any of the great philosophers in human history? From where you sit, yell a name out. Anybody? Plato, I heard. At Notre Dame, I had a policy. You give a good answer, you get a Snickers bar. So I hear Plato. Who else has a name for me? Socrates. Who said Aristotle? Back there. Plato, Socrates, Aristotle. Who else? Very good. Kant. Who else? This side of the room sits mute. Who else, y'all? Any great philosopher? Descartes. Who said Descartes? I think, therefore, I am in possession of a Snickers bar. There you go. Who else? Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, Descartes. Tom. He says my name. He gets the rest of the bag. All right. Now, wait a minute. Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, Descartes. What do they have in common? They're all dead, right? It doesn't look too good for me, does it? Where are the great thinkers now? Where are the great philosophers of the present day? That's the question. You know what I think the answer might be? You might be sitting next to one. Skeptical faces from a few of the tables all of a sudden. Y'all, I'm not kidding. Everywhere I go in this country, just in the last 4 or 5 years, I am seeing something I have never seen before. They didn't prepare me for this in all my graduate work at Yale and all my years of teaching at Notre Dame. Nobody said, at the turn of the century, the change of the millennium, all across America, in every industry, suddenly, people were going to start turning into philosophers, asking deep and challenging questions about things they've long taken for granted. What is true success? How can I feel more fulfillment in what I do? How can I get more balance in my life? What sort of impact do I want to have on the world? I wasn't hearing people ask that 10 years ago. But all of a sudden it's going on. You remember the Australian Olympics? Right before the Olympics, I got a phone call one night in my hotel room. Professor, this is Australian National Radio, live on our national broadcast. We have a question for you. Why are all the biggest companies in America suddenly turning to you, a philosopher? Why are all Americans becoming philosophers? I said, I have no idea. I mean, maybe Winston Churchill once explained it when he said, you can always depend on Americans to do the right thing once they've exhausted every other possibility. Having tried everything else, people are turning to ancient wisdom. Okay, we'll take it. We're going to turn to some of that wisdom in our time together this morning. In fact, our topic for our short time together is actually my favorite topic I've ever been asked to speak on. The first time I was asked to speak on this topic was 16 years ago. I was sitting in my office one Friday morning at Notre Dame doing what a philosophy professor does. I was thinking. I got a phone call from a big group of really successful people asking me to come and speak to them on the topic of success. I had no idea why they were calling me. I didn't teach on it at the time. I hadn't written on it yet. But I thought, these are really important, successful people. My wife will be really proud of me being asked to speak to them. I got to go home and tell her. Well, philosophers have no schedule whatsoever. So I jumped up from my desk. I grabbed my coat. I was on my way out the door. The phone rang again. I jumped back, picked it up. By some cosmic coincidence, it was a publishing company asking me would I consider writing a book on success, the very same topic. I ran to the football stadium across the street where I parked my car at Notre Dame. I drove the 2 miles home. I came bursting through the front door. I saw my wife at the back of the house. I said, Mary, you won't believe it. Within 60 seconds, I just got these 2 phone calls. A big group of really successful people want me to speak to them on the topic of success. A publisher wants me to write a book on success. I thought she was going to glow with pride. She just looked real confused. She said, wait. Don't you have to be a success before you can speak and write on it? I said, hey, I'm not going to get hung up on a technicality. I'm a student of the wisest people in all of human history. I'm going to go back to the folks y'all named: Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, Descartes, Confucius, Lao Tzu. Across the cultures, through the centuries, I'm going to ask you a question. Is there a universal framework for success? Y'all, I read hundreds of books, thousands of essays, and I was stunned to discover there are just 7 universal conditions for success. If you look at the place on your table where you're sitting, I brought everybody a little gift today, a little laminated wallet card. On that card, you will have the 7 universal conditions for success.